Are you good with Oregon at 2?
Well, no team scored more points than the Ducks last year, and even though they lost some guys up front, their offense is predicated around quarterback, running back, and head coach, and those guys all return. They spread it out. It's a finesse conference defensively. I think Oregon's going to score a ton of points, and they may just be better than LSU in a week because of all the distractions LSU's facing.
And then...
Holy nutberries. It's Friday. It's 24 hours until Oregon Ducks football is back. Games have already been played, and it was so weird to come home, turn on the TV, and see football that actually counts. Somebody pinch me. Could our long national off-season nightmare finally be over? I had an epic fail last week in not welcoming back Lord Beverage and Mooch's G, the guys behind the Go Ducks podcast, back for Season 3. Check them out. They're ridiculous homers, but sometimes we need a little of that in our lives, and they're really entertaining. It's a good way to get pumped up for a game. In their first episode back, they called me the Banksy of the Ducks. Thanks, I guess. I guess that makes Mike Wines Mr. Brainwash, right? Anyway, they also gave my Big Lebowski Willie Lyles mashup video some love, and I appreciate that. So a big Go Ducks to you fellas. So it's been quite a week. We at Fish Duck are still going strong. Keep checking back every day for new articles. Wednesday, I had a column about Oregon's success over the years to convert track athletes into professional wide receivers. I interviewed J.J. Burden, Ronnie Harris, and Patrick Johnson for it. J.J. Burden was kind enough to repost it on his website, so thanks, J.J. And thank you for being a duck. I've uploaded some new videos to my YouTube channel, which should be a good hint about what the next DuckTales article is about. 1958 Rose Bowl, Oregon versus Ohio State. And for those of us too young to remember that game, but fondly recall the 1994 Rose Bowl, there are some eerily similar parallels between 1958 and 1994 that I'll go into detail on Wednesday on fishduck.com, so keep an eye out for that. Now, obviously, football is on the brain for everybody, but before I get into the big game, I do need to mention a couple of other Oregon Ducks sports. The men's basketball team just finished their tour of Italy, playing teams from the International League there. They finished 2-2. Schools are permitted to play exhibitions internationally once every 3 years. So this is a trip they were actually going to do last year, but because there was so much attrition to the roster, Coach Altman simply didn't have enough bodies to be able to do it. If you recall, he was actually holding open tryouts on campus just so that they could practice. This trip is exactly what this very young Duck team needs, to play as much as possible. And thus far, if the stat lines are any indication, the freshman prep superstar Jabari Brown that we heard so much about, the kid's for real, folks. I mean, he is living up to the hype, just lighting up the scoreboards right now in Italy. So let's hope Brown and the rest of the team can keep their shots falling when Pac-10 or Pac-12 play starts. Also, the women's volleyball team pulled off an epic victory last Friday to open their season, defeating number 1 ranked Penn State. The Nittany Lions had a 94-match consecutive home win streak. That's the 4th longest streak in NCAA history in any sport, men's or women's. So, way to go, Ducks. Take that, memories of the 1995 Rose Bowl. Yeah, I'd rather have the Rose Bowl victory, but if all we get is volleyball revenge, so be it. Volleyball revenge!
From LSU quarterback Jordan Jefferson and linebacker Josh Johns have been suspended by LSU after warrants were issued for felony second-degree battery. Coach Les Miles said that no timetable has been set on the suspension.
All week long, big news has been coming out of Baton Rouge in the lead up to the Oregon-LSU game tomorrow. Did I say that? Tomorrow? Is it actually tomorrow? Oh, what a week they've had down in LSU territory. Every day it seems there's something new. First, it became official that their star wide receiver Russell Shepard is suspended indefinitely. That's a big blow. But then, after the rumors and investigations, LSU had 2 more indefinitely suspended stemming from that Barb role. Starting senior quarterback Jordan Jefferson and linebacker Jarrett Johns. There are also rumors circulating on the LSU message boards that starting senior guard Josh Dwarzik is out for the year with a torn ACL, and senior offensive guard Will Blackwell tore some meniscus and also requires knee surgery. Now, nothing has been officially announced from what I can find, so I guess we'll just find out at game time. Anytime a team loses a quarterback, especially a week before the opening of the season, everyone is going to freak out. But let's keep in mind, Jefferson has really been an enigma his whole career. LSU fans are not exactly shedding tears over his loss because he's cost them a lot of games over the years too. Plus, they happen to have a senior quarterback in Jarrett Lee that now takes over. He's a fifth-year senior QB with 9 career starts. This isn't like 2007 Oregon versus UCLA, where suddenly LSU has no passing game and all they can do is direct snap to the running back all day. Think about how confident we Oregon fans were in Nate Costa to be able to step in if Jeremiah Masoli or Duron Thomas got hurt. Lee has way more game experience than Costa ever had. So it's kind of the same feeling among Tiger fans. The media may flip out about the fact that Jordan Jefferson isn't playing, but their fans don't seem too worried about it.
Now all they do is pretend like their quarterback got hurt. Put the second guy in and rally the troops. And I would not be surprised if the defense, the special teams, and everybody else plays better without the quarterback being hurt. They rally around the league.
The difference between Jefferson and Lee is that Jefferson is a big, fast body. He's a dual run and pass threat, the exact prototype quarterback that Oregon has had problems stopping in recent years. Terrell Pryor and Cam Newton. Lee is a pocket passer. He has a good arm, he can definitely sling it, but Lee being in the pocket means that Oregon doesn't have to use a linebacker to spy the backfield. So Aliati will really be able to open up the playback, bringing pressure. Lee's also had a tendency to throw a lot of pick sixes in his career, so LSU fans like to think they win games in spite of their quarterback play from Lee and Jefferson. The fact that many LSU fans prefer Lee to Jefferson should tell you something. This doesn't drastically change their game plan, and it doesn't suddenly turn LSU into some lower-tiered team. They're still a top 5 team in the country for a reason. They're much more than just Jefferson and Shepard. Don't be fooled by the whole woe is me approach that the media has suddenly taken. And it's odd that suddenly everyone has forgotten that Oregon has 2 suspended players too. And frankly, the suspension of Cliff Harris, a lockdown corner and the best punt returner in the nation, is a far bigger blow than Jefferson and Shepard combined. Now, as far as how the game plays out, everyone is going to focus on speed. Can the LSU defense match Oregon's offensive speed? Now, don't be fooled by the flash. It should be clear by now that the broadcasters have no clue what they're talking about. This game is going to be played out in the trenches between LSU's defensive tackles and Oregon's center and guards. Oregon doesn't really hide much when it comes to what they do. Just watch Fish Duck's video on the inside zone read on fishduck.com for evidence of this. And the blueprint for stopping Oregon is also pretty common knowledge. Oregon's offense is built around the mesh point on the zone read. Everything stems from that half a second where the quarterback and the running back come together in the backfield, and the offensive play that is run is dictated completely by how the defense reacts to that moment. In order for that to function, there has to be a moment where the quarterback can read the field. But if the defense can consistently collapse the interior line, pushing the center and guards back in towards the mesh point, it completely stalls the Oregon offense. It doesn't matter how much speed Oregon has on the field. If the center gets pushed backwards towards the mesh point, Oregon will be stopped. Now, the teams that have been effective at slowing Oregon's offense have done so with powerful defensive tackles, dominating Oregon's guards and center, penetrating back to the mesh point, not giving the quarterback enough time to read the defense. Boise State did this thanks to a really raw, inexperienced offensive line that communicated poorly, and as we saw, they weren't ready to play until a couple games into the season when the Cal game came around. Ohio State did this as well with pure talent, particularly Ironhead's son, Cameron Hayward. He completely destroyed Jordan Holmes all game in the Rose Bowl, and Hayward is now playing with the Pittsburgh Steelers for a reason. Cal did this as well, and then they fell down on command a lot. Okay. Auburn did this a lot, thanks largely to a very sloppy field where nobody could cut laterally without slipping, so the Tigers just used their size to lean Oregon's O-line backwards into the pocket. And in all honesty, folks, I think a proper field that wasn't watered down so much it resembled a slip and slide, and Oregon is national champion right now. The media is going to focus entirely on Oregon's speed in the backfield and LSU's secondary, and talk endlessly about the guys that are not playing in the Willie Lyles Bowl. And I'm pretty sure they're going to take a poor LSU approach, a reversal of last year when LSU was the bad guy playing against North Carolina opening weekend in a night game where 14 Tar Heel players were suspended. Now, if you don't remember that game, LSU just barely won, and UNC became the media darlings for a couple of weeks. Everybody was praising, oh, how hard they fought, being so undermanned. The media is probably going to take the same woe is me approach, I will bet, because LSU won't have their quarterback. And if so, it's really going to upset me if they don't counterpoint every time with the fact that Oregon is missing players too, pretty vital players. But Everything is going to happen with those two defensive tackles lined up in the A and B gap. Keep a close eye on it. Oregon's offense versus LSU's defense along the interior line. That is where this game is going to be won. The center position was the biggest competition all spring and fall camp. This week it was announced that Hronis Grasu will be the starter. For a first-time starter having to go on national television and line up against LSU's D-line with millions watching, that's going to be an intense amount of pressure. I would not be at all surprised if Grasu gets dominated early in the game, and if he doesn't end up skying a shotgun snap or two while being more concerned with the defensive tackle that's staring him down, that will either mess up the timing on the mesh point or will result in a fumble. Watch Grasu closely, folks. If they hold the line, Oregon wins. If LSU penetrates into the backfield, then the Tigers win. I really think it's as simple as that. Now for next week's game, I'll be making the long drive up the 5 to Eugene to attend the matchup versus Nevada. I will be at the Flock the Village event Friday night, likely getting trashed in the beer garden while checking out the live music or stuffing my face with some Cart de Frisco since I can't find anything here in Los Angeles that comes close to resembling it and I get some serious cravings. So if you see me, come say hi. And now my random tweet of the week. Since Oregon is playing a Saturday night game, for this week I wanted to let you know about the Saturday Nights. Now this trio proves that not everything that comes out of Husky territory is bad. They add to the ongoing legacy of really fascinating Seattle-based indie hip-hop. They don't really fall into any specific genre. It is hip-hop, but their material bounces wildly from quality indie hip-hop to pop to noise rock, similar to what Sleigh Bells do. They're interesting characters too, at times self-deprecating and comical, while also very different musically, and blessed with some solid skills on the mic too. Their debut album, Mingle, came out in late 2008 on Light in the Attic Records, and I've been anxiously anticipating their follow-up album. I still listen to Mingle often. It features guest appearances by the Dap Kings, Kim Tae-il, he's the guitarist from Soundgarden, and Jim Horn from the musical Shoals Horns, among others. While it does bounce around to different styles, making it a little tough to pin down just what it is, the one common thread is that it's super catchy, upbeat, fun hip-hop, harkening back to the party themes of the early 90s. They're solid club DJ material. Now, this is the type of record where if you're having a house party, just put it on track 1 and let it roll. People are going to have a blast. The Saturday Nights are mainstays on the local Seattle scene, but they rarely tour beyond the Seattle area outside of a South by Southwest appearance and occasional West Coast tour. They haven't done much in a while, so I'm not sure if maybe they're on hiatus while working on other projects, or if we'll see another Saturday Nights album again someday. I certainly hope so, because Mingle is a fun listen. Anyway, I highly suggest picking up the album Mingle, and hopefully they'll give us more material soon. My personal favorite tracks on the record are Dog Park, Count It Off, and this song, 45.
To split. And if I was to share my coke, you'd probably get so high you'd have to split. But don't trip when I go out, I never forget the safety pin, directions to my address, and cab fare to my chest. Let's face it, this verse got too many power lines, you'd swear we had our own grid. I'm on the dance floor, and the DJ dropped my 45. I was so hyped that I dropped my 45, and everybody just ran. I'm on the dance floor, and the DJ dropped my 45. I was so hyped that I dropped my 45, and everybody just ran. 4, 5.
So that's it. That's it for this week. The big game is tomorrow. It's finally here. I can't believe the game is actually here after such a long off season. It's so amazing to watch it. I'm going to have a blast watching the game with some buddies here in LA. And then next week, I will be up at Autzen Stadium. So come say hi. Until then, until next week at Autzen Stadium, this is Kurt saying, Go Ducks.